You guys really thought I wasn't gonna do it, huh? You guys really thought I wasn't gonna do it. I mean, most of you probably was hoping I don't do it because But my mind raised no bitch, so let's talk about it. The dark side of K-pop. Oof. So, before we start this video, I would like to strongly say that this is not really my opinion. The things I'm about to say are stated facts from an article released by multiple performers. This specific article that I will be quoting is from a performer, though, but multiple articles like this have been cited. And this is not me just talking ass. This is truth interpreted by me. So, I am not here to shit on K pop, okay? I'm not here to discredit anyone's taste in K pop. Frankly, K pop is pretty good, right? When people talk to me about K pop, we get a usual off stance about it. People tend to think that I hate K pop. I don't hate K pop. I hate the environment K pop is made. The same with the music industry in my own country. I hate it as well. But let's not touch on that for now. For now, I want to focus on K pop. And the side of K pop most people don't see or look into. God, am I gonna regret doing this? I kinda do already, but I kinda wanna do it, right? So BBC released a article, I think it was like in 2020, around there, right? And the title is stated, I could have been a K-pop idol, but I'm glad I quit, right? It's a story of a I can't single out any one specific thing, right? Because K-pop is acting, singing, dancing, and what's the other one? Acting, singing, dancing, and some other thing. K-pop is a very wide thing, right? But it follows the story of someone trying to become a K-pop idol. She goes on to state that she was just a child when she made the call to become a K-pop idol, and she'd often like ditch school to record auditions and stuff. She would ditch school to go to auditions. She'd often neglect school a lot to be able to pursue it, and her family was all too pleased with that. But all the same, she was at a young age very passionate, yeah, about becoming an idol. Because back when she was younger, other friends were listening to stuff like Britney Spears and all that stuff, but she was parked up in her house listening to stuff like Wonder Girls and B2S2, right? B2S2, BTST, right? B2S2. Christ, it's been a long time since I had to say that name. Jesus Christ. Right. She goes on to talk about when she realized what being an idol in South Korea was, right? It was someone who can model, act, sing, and dance. So to be able to get in as a K-pop model, you had to be able to do all four aspects. At the age of like 10, she was doing multiple auditions, hoping that somebody would sign her. She'd often like send in photos of herself, sometimes skipping school, and then she finally got a call. She finally got like called to an official audition, right? And it was like her and 2,000 other hopefuls, and that's what they call candidates, right? They call them hopefuls, and it was in one of those like big open auditoriums that you see in like America's Got Talent. But instead of having like a stage and chairs and stuff, it was just an empty room with a stage alone. And they had them sit on the floor. 2,000 young girls sitting on the floor in rows of 10. Can you imagine that? You come into an auditorium and then there's just like 2,000 girls sitting on the floor in rows of 10. Anyway, so she goes on to go for like 6 hours. She sat there listening to other girls, right? And when I say listening, I don't mean actually listening. They would go up on stage and they would start to sing for like 10 seconds before they can even reach the chorus of the song. The judge will like scream out next for the next girl. Before she could even get into the song, she started singing and she was like, "Nope, get her off next." So when it was finally her turn, she went up and she started to like say a dialogue from a Korean TV drama. And then like halfway through, they stopped her and was like, "Hey, can you sing? Because that's like the main reason we want kids here, right? We're looking for a singer." And because she didn't really prepare a song because she normally auditioned for like acting, um, she did a rendition of what's that Aladdin song? A Whole New World, right? Yeah, she did it. She sang A Whole New World from that Aladdin movie. Aladdin movie, Jesus Christ. And the judges was like, "All right, I can mess with this. Can you dance?" It's like, so she kind of starts to sweat now, right? And they put on music, and then she's going hard. She's like, "Oh yeah, right." And then they stop her and they give her a yellow card, saying that, "Hey, good job, you made it through to the next stage." And she was directed to the next room, where she was asked to walk along tape on the floor so that she can be photographed to see how she would look from every angle she got photographed in. And then the next day, she got her parents got contact and asked to come in to discuss signing a contract, right? So so far so good, right? Under the terms of the contract, the family had to move to South Korea to live and train in the company. And when I say the family, I mean like just her alone, because yeah, she's a 10-year-old kid, but fuck family, right? Oops, I know it's supposed to curse. Anyway, so this 10-year-old kid's supposed to leave her home and go live in a camp in Korea, South Korea, that is. And if she would leave before the contract is up, she would have to pay. Hold on, it's my fault for recording during the day. She would have to pay the contract in full, the full cost of the training. If at any point of the training she left in South Korea as a 10-year-old kid, she would have to pay the full cost, which ran into thousands of dollars, thousands of US dollars. But anyway, her mom reluctantly signed the contract for like 2 years because that was the lowest contract they were offering at the time, right? And well, yeah, after signing that, her relationship with her parents fucking tanked, right? Yeah, you know her mom was like, "Shit, girl, you better work your ass off. If you mess this up and you leave, I swear to God, I'm a murder." I can't say those things. God damn. Anyway, She started off as a trainee, right? And the head firm, like the head company that signed all the kids, would hand all the kids over to a secondary firm, right? It's a pretty it's pretty common in most companies would have like a mother company, and then they would just feed it off to smaller companies to do their work for them. So something you need to know is that if you have Asian parents, you know what I'm gonna get at, right? You know. Okay. So something you need to get is that Asian people are strict. South Korean people are like stricter than strict. So her new company was like extremely strict to its training. Yeah. And these are not built adults. These are not like 18 years old. These are kids that are coming in like 9 to 15, 16 at most, right? So they're taking 16-year-old, not even 16, 10-year-olds, taking them away from their family, moving them to a South Korean training camp where if parents or relatives had to come and visit them, they needed to tell them in advance. And if relatives showed up, they would be turned away. So these kids were isolated in a strict center without the ability to contact the outside world. And no one from the outside world without approval from the company cannot get to the kids. Kind of like prison. Right. Now, the only contact uh, the kids were going to get is to go to school to whatever boarding school was closest to the training camp. Which, yes, you could not really talk about what you were doing as well. But luckily for this girl, she was the person of the article. I think she was from the UK as well. So she got into an international boarding school, like a private school, was it? Something like that, right? Yeah, something like that, but I can't remember. Brain dead. So their training, their training sessions would be waking up at 5, right, to get extra dance lessons, and they would practice from 5 till 8 every day before school, right? And those who didn't go to school would be up from 5 till 11 or later, right? They would wake them up and they would have them dancing or singing or acting for 5 hours before getting anything, right? Once they were done training, they had to take care of themselves at night. So the adults would leave these kids there at night and just go their way and say, fuck those kids. God, I'm cursing. I really want to curse. Cause, and just leave these 9 to 15-year-olds there. Right? So, in a present state where these kids have zero contact with anyone of their family members, their contact to the outside world is very limited and controlled. And the actual people that they do get to interact with only come there, train them, and then leave. And just leave these kids there. Luckily, at least you can call this luck, but it's not really. They were separated from male to female. So male and female were separated, and then they banned dating altogether. Like, dating was a big no. And the reason why they did this is because they wanted a full control of their sexualities. Because trainees were supposed to act straight even if they weren't straight, right? And anyone who appeared to be gay openly was straight out kicked out of the company, right? You need to understand that South Korea is pretty big no on gays. So, anyways, that's just pissing me off right now. Both male and female trainees have their managers, like their head figures. I don't know what we call that in English. Um, and they're the ones that's supposed to like keep tabs on the trainees, right? Because they kind of leave the trainees at night, so the head would just text them or like contact them every night to say like, "Hey, bunch of kids, are you guys still alive in there?" Right? And if they don't call back immediately, they don't text back immediately, they would instantly like ring down the phone and just be like, "Hey, what you little shits doing?" Because there is no one there to monitor these kids, and that was the best solution they got. Text them, and if they don't answer, fucking ring their phones down until somebody answers, right? And are they alive? I don't know, man. Let me just pull my phone out and see. Hey, you alive still? Oh, no text. Hold on. Let me call them. Hey, you alive still? As a hopeful or a trainee, you had no weekends or holidays. The only holidays you'd ever get is on like really big national holidays like the Lunar New Year's. And that's simply because like the office people, the staff would have a day off, so they wouldn't come to train you, right? Good. Now, let's get into the juices. The company would separate these kids into two groups. You'd have a group A and a group B. Um, that's two main groups, a group A and a group B. There's like subgroups, but that's a different part. So you'd have like 30 kids in group A or 20 kids in group A. It depends on how much is there. And group A would be considered the people with the most potential, right? The top 30, the top 20, the top, let's say 25, the top 25 kids. Let's just give it an average in between the two of them. The top 25 kids in group A. Then team B would have around 200. Yeah, 200. And group B is the standout kids. Mind you, these are all talented kids, by the way. You can say that some of them did pay to get their way into the company. But the thing about that is the company is such a leech that they can train for years and years. And I'm talking 5 to 8 years of training. And they know that they would never actually get the debut. They will keep these kids there, train them, take their money for years, feeding off of their hopes of debut, knowing very well that they will never get launched as a K-pop performer. Team A slept in dorms with the top four girls getting beds, right? The regular trainees would sleep together in a huge room that had to make do with mats on wooden floors, right? So group A would get a bed and they would put like 8 girls in a room and just be like, hey, figure that out. But group B would get floor mats. 200 girls sleeping in a large room on floor mats. You are singing, dancing, and acting every day at 5 a.m. in the morning. No weekends, no holidays. For an entire day, unless you had school. But when you get back from school, they put you to train for the same time as the kids that was training if they don't have school. And when you ended your day to go and rest, they put you to sleep on wooden floors on top of mats. You had to sleep on top of a mat on a wooden floor. Team B would be exhausted, sleep deprived, and barely holding themselves together in the dance studios while training. Because God, have you ever slept on the floor when you're like, oops, I hate when my computer does that. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. Because if you guys did, that was loud as hell. Have you guys ever slept on the floor? And like when you come home from a really tiring day and you're just like, oh yeah, the firmness of this floor holds me together. And then 10 minutes later, you catch a cramp and you can't move. Right. So the odds of someone going from team B to team A, this girl who is speaking out said in her time there, she saw one person ever leave team B to team A. That's literally a 0.002% chance of ever making it out of team B. So if you ever got into team B, you have to go through this with that much hope. Right? And if anybody in team A ever misbehaves, they would be threatened or sometimes even just moved to team B as punishment. So your safest thing was to never complain and to just work hard. But all of these girls are really determined, right? You know that they're here to and guys too. I mean, just shout out the guys as well. This is the exact same thing that goes on for them as well. This treatment was hard pushed as this is how things are, and this is just the experience that kids need to learn, the discipline that they need to have to become like a K-pop star. These kids did not have names anymore. Okay, they were given numbers. They were giving numbers for names, and the company would not address them by their names anymore, except for their group and their number. Right? Until they made it to a part where they were given stage names. So their real names were slowly being erased. So as a trainee, as a hopeful, you're moved, you're isolated, your sleeping patterns are controlled, and you lose your name. Until you get a name change when you become high enough to get a stage name, right? So you either keep on working as A12 for the rest of your stay there, or you work hard enough to get a random name that a producer thinks, hey, you look like a Susie. Your stage name is Susie now. You know how Asian people are, you know how the world looks at Asian people and they idolize them because they're small? Yeah, this is no different as well. Weight has to be a constant obsession for everyone. Your weight was required. Required. This was a requirement that you be no heavier than 47 kgs or 104 pounds. This was regardless of your age or your height. You were required to always be around 104 pounds, no matter what. And they had weekly weigh ins. Your body would be analyzed by the trainers, and your weight would be announced to everyone in the room. If anybody was ever designated as overweight, their food rations would be reduced. Sometimes they would take away the food altogether, and these quote unquote overweight trainees will be just given water. Okay? Which is really fucked up because some girls are just tall. So they can't do much about their balance, their natural weight. Girls are starving themselves, trainees were either anorexic or bulimic. Trainees would pass out from exhaustion. These kids would have to often carry other kids, other unconscious kids, back to their dorm rooms. These these kids would be tired, starving, and dehydrated because they would also control their water intake because water can make you bloated and mess up your body. You need these kids will get into the mindset of when a girl passes out because she hasn't eaten or drank enough water and have been dancing for 5 hours, they would praise her. They would praise this type of action as good for her. She wants it this much. Do you understand? And these girls couldn't make friends with each other because this wasn't just a group of girls together. No, this was a group of girls. This was around 300 people competing with each other because only about five of them were going to ever debut. And there was 300 of them. So none of these girls saw themselves as friends because they were all competing with each other for the same goal. And it's not like it was always the same exact girls because there would be new trainees coming and going, right? And every time new trainees came in from like other companies or other places, they would already have training. They would go as far as having plastic surgery, right? They would go as far as having plastic surgery to hide their imperfections because these girls would also bully themselves. They would also bully themselves because, of course, humans would bully themselves, right? They would sabotage other trainees, steal their dancing shoes. If they were announced as overweight, they would pick on her mentality by bullying her for being overweight so that she doesn't have the mental strength to get underweight to be competition. And the instructors would encourage this because it's thinning the horde. I guess people woke up and start working. So I'll uh, I'll end this here and do it in a part two. See you guys next time. Hey guys, I kind of rushed out just now because I heard my mom and I kind of panicked and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Yeah, I'll be continuing this series in a part two. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's kind of long. I didn't notice it was so long. I might have been here for like an hour if I didn't stop myself just now. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah. Again, this is not me trying to ruin K-pop for anyone. If you enjoy K-pop, you enjoy K-pop. I'm not trying to ruin it for you. I'm not telling you K-pop bad. Don't listen K-pop. K-pop is pretty good music. You should listen to it if you like it. This is just me airing my thoughts on something that I'm passionate about. Again, I don't hate K-pop. I may at times be very, very judgmental of it, but I don't hate it. All right, let's end this off here. Do you know that 78% of the people watching this right now are not subscribed to me? If you've made it this far, please leave a like and a comment down below. As for your subscription, I will be playing you in a friendly game of rock, paper, scissors. The rules are simple. I will go rock, paper, scissors, and then shoot. Upon shoot, I'll announce that I win, and if I've won, you're not obligated to subscribe to me. If I've lost, you're not obligated to go down in the comment section and let me know that. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Today I went rock again. That means if you went scissors, you just lost. If you went paper, you just won. Alright, guys. Thanks for listening. Today I actually didn't feel like recording because I didn't feel all that good. My tummy's paining. My acid in my stomach is riding my chest and it burns a lot. Uh, my back hurts, and a lot of other things. But I was laying in bed and I just couldn't. Whenever I don't work, I feel really bad because I really enjoy it and I really love it. And sitting down or laying down and just not doing it just doesn't settle right with me. And I miss you guys. That's basically just it. I sit here and I go, I miss you guys. So I went, I washed my face, I brushed my teeth, I did a little stretchy stretch. I opened the house, and then I sat down. It's like, okay, I don't have a script to write. I don't have any ideas for any improvs. Let's do this. Let's talk. Yeah. Anyway, I'll be linking the link to the article down below if you're interested in reading it yourself. Uh, Other than that, have a good day. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Forever, always. And a goodbye.